Okay, good evening. If we can stand for the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, good evening, everybody. We will actually going to start with our exemplary people, and we're going to recognize this evening our Massac Free Press Awards that were won from the New England Scholastic Press Association. So Jim and I are going to go over here, and we will call everybody out. The board is going to recognize this evening our winners from the Massac Free Press staff, and it's under the supervision of teacher Vivian Siegel. Come up here. For those who don't know, Massac was entered into the New England Scholastic Press, and they won quite a bit of awards. So I'm going to read them. They won first place in all New England for the best newspaper in all of New England. The highest achievement in scholastic editing and publishing. And then the Special Achievement Awards are run by Jess Ferragino, which is 2017 Editor-in-Chief for her column Women March to Make America Equal Again. So Jess. Okay. Hi. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And then we have Olivia Doherty, class of 2019, for her sports story In the Net and In the Penalty Box. And then we have Sydney Guerrera, class of 18, for her sports story Blood, Sweat, and a Lot of Glitter. We have Jake Welsh, class of 2019, for his column, How Correct is Political Correctness? And then also Jake has a second one for his news story, Brex, Not Just a Bad Pun. Congratulations. We have Molly Carrero, also 2019, for her front page news story, Monroe Wishes Sandy Hook a Heartfelt Goodbye. And then we have Megan Cunningham, 2017, and Madison O'Gould, class of 2019, for their newspaper design of page 1 March 2017 issue. Congratulations.
I don't know how many schools there are in New England, but I have this feeling that it's a pretty rare event for a school to win all New Englands like this and be recognized as the highest quality newspaper, high school newspaper in all of New England. So congratulations. I look forward all the time to reading the paper, and it always comes out as the most professional, the most informative high school paper I've ever seen in my career. And that's largely due, Vivian, to your leadership, but also the kids that you bring along with you. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much. And actually, we have a lot of other staff members that can come up. Okay, sure. If you want to just recognize them.
Yes. Free Press staff.
What's that? Yeah, we'll head out.
Yeah.
Because I like having all the pictures, but this one might be tougher.
Most of the kids. A couple of approaching ones supposed to be here.
You guys want to just move a little bit?
That's okay, go ahead. You have enough people.
Ms. Siegel, I can't see your head.
Look at that respect.
There we go. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Congratulations. Anybody from the free press, feel free to leave and don't stay for the rest of the meeting. We understand. All right, we will move on, to the report of the chairman. And first up, we're going to do our recognition of our retirees.
Do you want to do that other comment?
I'll do that after.
Okay, great.
So again, we're going to go up here and call everybody up. So I'm going to do you last. Just so you know.
I figured that. There are 5 retirees who could not be here this evening, but I'd like to say their name and recognize them. First of all, Joanne Kruk, paraprofessional from Fawn Hollow from 1999 to 2017. Irene Michione, a paraprofessional at Fawn Hollow from 1999 to 2017. Kim Shea, special education teacher here at Massac High School from 1985 to 2017. Deborah Walls, the ELA K-5 coordinator from 1987 to 2017. And Cynthia Peters, paraprofessional at Fawn Hollow from 1993 to 2017. So let's recognize those that cannot be here. And then those for who are here. Charlene Benoit, special education teacher, Massac 2006 to 2017, 11 years of service.
Old peg leg.
Congratulations.
Charlene, again, congratulations.
Thank you.
You might as well stay right up here. Yep. We have to get the photo, right?
Got it.
Okay. Janet Charlin, kindergarten teacher, Stepney, 2000 to 2017. I'm supposed to be doing that for you.
Good.
Okay. Deborah Charles, English teacher, Jockey Hollow Middle School, 1977 to 2017, 40 years.
Congratulations.
Patricia Fredericks, custodian here at Massac High School, 1989 to 2017. Pat?
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Judith Fusty, reading teacher, Jockey Hollow Middle School, 1994 to 2017. Elaine Iannarone, special education teacher, 2006 to 2017 here at Massac. Congratulations. Jean Moore, library media specialist, Stepney Elementary, 1998 to 2017. Brad Peterson, music teacher at Fawn Hollow, 1980 to 2017, 37 years. Congratulations. Joanne Ruby, third grade teacher, Fawn Hollow, 1977 to 2017, 40 years.
And since we're not going to have him announce himself, Jim Augustine, 2012 to 2017.
Thank you. John, you want to do photos?
Put this on Facebook. You guys are gonna
You have
have
to
to.
come way
Yeah,
in.
somebody wanted to squinch in the front.
Turn sideways. Yeah, we'll turn sideways.
Great, thank you.
We celebrated, if I could say a couple words before we go, we celebrated on June 2nd, I believe it was, right, John? First or second? First. Over at the Waterview, celebrating all of our retirees at that time. I noted a couple of things. First of all, you know it's time to retire when you and your teeth don't sleep together anymore. We have 352 years of service here. And one of the other themes that I said that evening, I'd just like to share a little bit of it, and that is when we enter this profession in the role of teacher or paraprofessional, any school-related position, we don't enter it for the prestige and for the money. We enter it for the love of children and to do good things by kids. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate all the work that you have done for the Board of Education here in Monroe in that regard, and I wish you the very best in everything you do going forward. So on behalf of the Monroe Board of Education and the community at large, thank you for your years of service.
You're welcome.
And once again, you guys don't have to stay for the whole meeting. You can leave too. We totally understand. We do have a couple of people who did ask to speak tonight about Jim and Jim's retirement. And I already see Newtown is here, so Newtown Superintendent and Board Chair, right, are here to speak. So I'm going to give them the full. You could be right here.
Sure.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hey, nice to see you again.
Madam Chair and members of the Monroe Board and those in the audience, this could have been, first of all, it's a little frightening when you're the superintendent who is older than the retiring superintendent. So I'll get through that piece. But it tells you how his wisdom and my learning curve. We could have sent this by mail, but the belief in Newtown was that it was just too big to put a stamp on and say thank you. The Newtown Board of Education, as you know, in its darkest day, Monroe stood tall. And on front of that line was Jim Augustine. And I think that for the young folks that are in the audience, I'm hoping that it serves as an example of doing the right thing, not the easy thing, being courageous in difficult times. And that's our message from Newtown, that we're here to say thank you to somebody who I call a friend and somebody I have deep respect for.
Just wanted to thank you once again. When we needed something, you guys turned around and said, sure, we've got it. What can we do for you? And then we said, well, we need all these other complicated parts. And you said, fine. I said, we could use a local administrator. Fine. You gave us everything that we could possibly ask for. And we can never repay you, but we can thank you over and over. So thank you.
So from Jim, if we could, just to bring to close, having the job of a school superintendent is a challenging job, and I think that the challenges are every day. But when you make a decision to run your district and to extend the hand that your superintendent extended 3.5 years ago, it's a very special leader you've had in Monroe. And I hope that you appreciate every day that he served, and I know that we have appreciated every day that he's been in office for the Newtown School. So Jim, thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Joe.
Best of luck.
Thank you, Tom.
And Jim, just stay up there. David York wants to come up and say a few words also.
It's getting warm up here.
As unprepared as I am, so on. I wear two hats. I want to show you at least a moment of my hat of working under or with Jim as a guidance counselor. In all the history of my 30 years prior to my retirement as a guidance counselor, there were a number of other superintendents, and I think Jim has stood out. You have stood out so well, and you did say something to the retirees a few years after my retirement here about the art and the magic of teaching. And I think that's what we have to get a hold of somehow. And you're trying, and I think the school system is trying. I think Massac has done well in doing that. And so let's keep working on the art and the magic. So that's the teacher part. Unknown, and it doesn't need to be known widely, Jim has done a lot of other work with emergency management. And we've sat in town hall through some storms and blizzards and so on when the town is pretty well shut down. And I just think the people should know how much of a privilege. I'm the emergency management director for the town, so I'm pulling everybody together, police, highway, health department, school system, and Jim has been there patiently working with everybody to see that everything starts to get together. The roads are starting to be open and the bus company can run their vehicles. And so I think that's really, people should know what Jim has been doing with some other hours in his life. And then related to that is, I'm, as the emergency management director for Monroe, I work with Region 1, which is part of 5 regions in the state of Connecticut, in the Department of Emergency Management and Homeland Security. And each region and each school system within that region is to design a school safety and security plan. Jim has been very supportive of it with John and Jack, and I've been proud to stand in Region 1 and say that Monroe is doing what it needs to do. It's been done, or it's on time, and it's complete. And not every school system has had that support from the superintendent. So we thank you. We have no budget in emergency management, so I don't have a plaque. I have a little letter just saying basically what I said. No plaque, no anything else. But thank you, Jim, very much.
There's no I in the word team. You've heard that cliche many, many times. The accolades that Joe and Keith shared and Dave here really could never happen with one person. They happen because of the great administrative team that I have in front of me here, and also a great Board of Education that stands behind us 100% all the time. So thank you for all that you do. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I'll speak for the board to say that we reluctantly took your retirement letter. We did not want to accept it, but we apparently were forced to. So we're going to miss you tremendously. The work and the job that you and your team have done over the past 5 years has just been amazing. It has moved this district and this town forward in leaps and bounds. Everybody is looking to come to Monroe for all the great things that we have here to offer. Our phenomenal schools are certainly attracting people, right, Shannon?
Correct.
And that leadership is because of you, and we appreciate where you've taken us. And
Well, thank you very much.
John better continue it.
No pressure.
No pressure. All right.
What Dave was saying about the behind the scenes and all the thought and care and time that you've put into everything, every decision, difficult and big and small and everything, always with the kids in mind. It's just very meaningful, and we really appreciate all of it.
Thank you.
Anybody else? You have an opportunity? All right. Also, on the report of the chairman, I want to say thank you. I know there's a lot of parents in the audience who came out about the music program and the cut that we're talking about tonight, making to 5th grade music. We hear you. We don't want to make the cut to 5th grade music. Unfortunately, the state of Connecticut has put us in a situation where on June 5th, we still do not know where the state of Connecticut is going with their budget. We don't know if we're being cut $9.7 million or we're being cut $1 million. We have very difficult cuts to make. None of them are good cuts. There are no easy cuts. Unfortunately, the 5th grade music program is about a $76,000 cost to the district. Unfortunately, at this point, we don't have $76,000 anywhere in the budget to keep that in. Now, there is a contingency plan once we know what the state is doing. If the contingency plan is, if the state only cuts us $3 million or less, the board will get an extra $650,000 from the town. We don't know that, and we're not sure when that's going to be. So as we're going to cut 5th grade music tonight, there is a possibility that in September we will have a 5th grade music program. We just don't know that at this point this evening. We also have cuts to teachers, technology paraprofessionals. We have to cut all 3 of our kindergarten through 6th grade coordinators. That's in language arts, music, and science. There are no easy cuts. We're cutting a high school teacher. They're all very painful. We're hoping that that $650,000 does come through, and in that respect, we will be able, we're going to be able to restore these cuts. You are invited to come up during participation. We'd love to hear from you. We're so happy that so many people did come out to voice their opinion. But just know at this point, we need to move forward with this, and we're hoping by the end of the summer, we'll have a more definitive answer from Hartford as to what the allocation is to the not only Monroe district, I know Newtown and every other district in the state. There's 151 districts who are being cut funds. And hopefully we will know, and at that point we can start restoring some of these unfortunate cuts that we also have to make.
Right.
Would you like to say anything?
Yeah, I agree 100% with what Donna is saying. This is never an easy task to do when you start cutting programming in a district, an award-winning district like Monroe Public Schools. We were able to, and we'll talk about this later in the agenda, but every day we continue to look for possible savings in the budget, and we were able to add a few things back that we had already recommended cutting to the Board of Education. Like, for instance, with a late announced retirement, the savings that we got on that, we were able to bring back the clubs and activities cut, which was a $20,000 cut, and then the freshman sports, which was another $20,000 cut. So freshman sports and the clubs and activities can be reinstated if the board chooses to do that tonight, because we've come up with that money. We'll continue over the next months to see where we can find other savings, or as Donna said, we're waiting for the state. We heard something today from the town's attorney that there is a bill on the floor, it passed the House of Reps, I believe, that would allow towns to do another budget referendum if the state aid to the town changes either positively or negatively. That wasn't written in statute previously. So if that were to happen, you could have another budget referendum perhaps and restore all of the funding. Who knows? So it's really awkward. It's the most awkward budget cycle I have ever seen in the state of Connecticut in all of my career. I think that what the state has done is unconscionable, and basically putting all districts in the state of Connecticut hostage to their deliberations about aid to the towns. And that's very unfortunate, because we have teachers now with layoff notices in their hands. We have, in a case of a worst case scenario, and I think it's unconscionable. So, it's a wait and see game.
Yes, absolutely. And again, as I said, music is important to us. I'm a music parent. Dr. Vagliavello is a music parent. I don't know if anybody else up here is music parents, but certainly George, and certainly this is a thing that we don't want to cut, but until we know with the state, and unfortunately, I'm not really positive we're going to know by June 30th's deadline. It's June 5th.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure, so we're just going to have to wait and see. But like I said, you're more than free to come up when we have public participation, and please, we invite you. We will move on to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Thank you. Second. Thank you. Jim, would you like to talk about we have a notification of resignation?
Yeah, it's with regrets. Minju Park, who we hired last year as an 8th grade math teacher at Jockey Hollow, will be resigning at the end of this year. And we are currently on the look for, or searching for her replacement.
Great. Anybody have anything else? Hearing none, all in favor of the consent agenda? Thank you, motion passes. We will move on to our reports of our committees and liaisons, and up is our MASIC reps, which was your last meeting, well, for Michelle, but the other two will hopefully be back next year representing MASIC.
So to begin, on behalf of all three of us, we just want to thank Mr. Augustine again for being our superintendent for so many years, and we wish you well in your retirement. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And so senior finals are starting on Monday the 12th, and all other exams for all other grades are starting on Friday the 16th. And there will be half days those days with 2 exams on each day.
Just last week, the boys track team won the Class Double M State Championship, which is a huge accomplishment. I think 30 or 40 teams competed in that, and they were able to win it despite not thinking they were going to do so. And advisory will be in 2 days. It is the last one of the year, and it is class elections for juniors through freshmen through juniors, and the seniors will open their letters that they wrote to themselves freshman year, which is a pretty cool experience, I imagine.
Last time I was here was, I believe, before I went on my DECA trip to California, and I just wanted to say how great of an experience that was to be involved in something like that, and that our school has DECA. It's made me so much more social and able to experience like business in a real setting. So the trip was a success. Everybody did really well on that trip. Also, I'd like to, on behalf of all of us, again, I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to be on the Board of Ed. I've mentioned this to people, and they go, "Your town lets you do what?" And I said, "Yeah, it's awesome. I get to know everything around town. People are always coming up to, I'm sure, up to you guys too, asking us questions about what did they say at the board meeting, what happened." And it's just an awesome experience to be so involved in this town. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate your input for the year on the board. And like I said, Kevin and Will, we expect you back next year. And Michelle, congratulations, and we wish you well off to college. And where are you?
Boston College.
Boston College. Well, congratulations and good luck. We will next we see you is on the football field at graduation on the 21st. Anybody else have committee reports this evening? All right, we will move on to public participation. If you do wish to speak, please come up, sit at the table, speak into the microphone. We need your name and your address, and the comment must be limited to 3 minutes, please.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Okay.
Yep, it's on.
Kelly Petro, 124 Lazy Brook Road. I don't envy your position, but I also know Squeaky Wheel gets the oil, and you guys like to hear what is most important to the parents and the kids. So I'm going to go ahead and be the squeaky wheel tonight. And by no means am I trying to undercut, all the other cuts that you guys are making. They sound very painful. So I don't want to speak against those cuts, but just for regarding the music. I just wanted to kind of tell you my experience. My son participated in both strings and band this year, and it was such a great experience for him. He learned how to read music, and now every day he comes home from school, he learned how to read music with the violin, and he's now taught himself how to play piano just from learning music. Both of my house is filled with music now. It's wonderful. They come home from school, and the first thing they do is sit down at a piano that no one's ever played before, and they're filling our house with music. And my kids feel really like they're good at something. And so for kids who maybe aren't the football all-star out there, this is just another great way for them to feel really good about themselves. So it's really affected our family in such a positive way. The concerts are amazing to see the kids and how much they've grown in such a short time. So I just wanted to voice my support of the music program because it's had such a great impact on our family's life. And I know, the budget is not completely in our hands. I wish that our budget came after the state budget. One of the reasons I did vote for the budget was because I knew what was on the chopping block. And, it's a little disheartening. It's not anyone's fault here, but it's disheartening to know that you vote for the budget in hopes for certain things and that those things get cut. So I just wanted to take a minute and express my support of that program and thank Mr. Peterson, Mrs. O'Grady, and Mrs. Holman. They've done an excellent job this year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anybody else?
That's not my forte. But okay, I'm Janet Patty. I live at 97 Lazy Brook Road. Very good friends with Kelly Petro, and I can attest to the fact that music has filled her home, as we are there most days of the week. And her boys' love of music has sort of been imbued in my children as well, which I appreciate. And as a fourth grade mom, I was looking forward to next year and hoping that my daughter would be able to continue with the love that has already been imbued by her kids. So definitely a little disappointed, but you know, as a former teacher, I used to teach before I became a mom. I've seen the positive effects of what music can do for children, and it's a light that shines within them, and once it, you know, is nurtured, I see how it can have such wonderful effects on their self-esteem and their self-confidence, and finding a love for something that, you know, can grow into something positive. So I just hope that, you know, in moving forward, we can, you know, think about that and when making these cuts. But I thank you for everything that you do here, and Mr. Augustine, and being able to have the opportunity to speak today. So thank you.
Thank you.
Am I beating you to it? No, we'll go right here. Hi, I'm Angela Cross, representing Lazy Brook as well. 18 Lazy Brook. And I don't appreciate the position that you're in, and I am frustrated as well by what's going on in the state level. I have a daughter who will be a 5th grader next year, who for the last 3 months almost daily talks about which instrument she's going to play next year, because it's such a struggle in her mind because she likes 3 of them and can't make up her mind. I also have a daughter who's going to be a freshman, so I'm thankful that she's athletic, and I'm thankful that freshman sports are going to be there for her. And I just want to say that my daughter, she dances 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week. So the opportunity for her to take music outside of school is really not there, because her time is you know, somewhere else. But she's very musical, and you know, loves to dance and all of that. And you know, I really was excited for her to have the opportunity next year in school to explore that. And you know, so I'm thankful that as things go forward, that, you know, this is on your mind, and I just hope that it continues to be. So thank you, Mr. Augustine.
Thank you.
So we have letters on behalf of students. So
If you sit down and name and address, please.
Mine. Jen Paulson, 93 William Henry. So these are letters from students, so I'm just going to read them because they're from. Please don't take away 5th grade band and strings. Music is very important, and the younger grades of Monroe Elementary deserve to experience it. Band was amazing for me, and the students of this school should know that feeling. Many students were looking forward to playing an instrument. Now that can't happen. Please consider keeping 5th grade band and strings. It is the most important thing in this town. Dear First Selectman, or Board of Education. I think that we should keep 5th grade music. I think this way because music can really change a child's life. First of all, music develops social skills in younger children. Also, students who took music got higher SAT scores than children who did not. 5th grade music has also made me listen to a new kind of music, classical. From this, I learned it can make children be more open to different kinds of music. Also, music is a fun hobby and a pastime. Music can even get you a job, such as a strings teacher. I hope you can take my suggestion in mind and decide to keep 5th grade music. Sincerely, Alex.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Diana McCaffrey, 100 Williamsburg Drive. I too have some letters, but I'll start off by saying I didn't realize that it was a $76,000 figure, so I see where that can be difficult. Wondering if maybe there could be alternatives discussed, like pay to play, or something that dollar figure can be adjusted in any way. When I told my daughter this morning that I was coming tonight, she said that everyone was going to be upset when she told them at school, and that's how these letters were written. So I'll read hers. Dear Board of Ed, I believe that band and orchestra should be kept in schools. I love orchestra, and I love showing my family how much I love it. My teacher is so nice, and she makes learning the viola super fun. My sister is in 2nd grade, and she already planned what instrument she wants to play. All the people who play an instrument love it so much, and I bet that they will be sad that future students can't play. Playing the viola has changed my life, and is another talent that I adore. My parents, siblings, and other relatives are so proud of me for playing. I hope that my younger sister and brother get this chance too, that I got to play an instrument. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Beatrice Rodriguez. I live in 78 Greenwood Lane. I have 3 children. I came here about 4 years ago. They entered 3rd grade, and I'm happy to say that they've been part of the music program. My oldest is now in 6th grade at STEM, and he's with Miss Holman, and I could tell you that she's an excellent teacher. I've had a lot of music teachers teach my kids, and I know what you have now you're not going to get. They are excellent. Ms. Holman and Miss O'Grady this year. Santiago is my 5th grader, and he's so excited about being in band that I told him what I was going to do, and he's like, "What do you mean they're going to cut it? What about Veronica? Veronica's going to be in 2nd grade. What about her?" And I'm like, "I don't know, but we'll see." I just wanted to express what wonderful teachers you do have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jen Aguilar, 32 Surrey Lane. I don't have any kids who this is gonna affect, so I don't have anything to say. I support it. All my kids did it. It was actually taken away. It was put back, I believe, when my 11th grader was in 5th grade was the first year we reinstated it. So it hasn't been back around for that long, but my kids have all prospered from it. I own 3 violins, if anybody wants one. But I also, why I'm here to speak is I was actually thinking back there, have we looked at any other avenues, like a senior coming in? Can we stipend a senior, not a senior, a senior citizen, like somebody 65 and older? Have we contacted Barb Yeager? Have we looked outside the box to see if we can have a pay to play for a violin? Charge each student $200 to pay for the year, pay 30 kids in each school, 3 schools, maybe once a week, even if we do once, rotate it that's a $18,000 stipend salary. Just an idea. That's all I had to say about that. Good luck. Sorry for you guys in this position.
Thanks.
I didn't have anything to plan to say.
Sorry,
Eric Booth.
I need your name and address.
I'm sorry?
Name and address first,
Eric
sorry.
Booth, 385 Webb Circle. I didn't plan to speak today, but I have a daughter in 5th grade and a daughter in 4th grade. This is why I didn't plan on saying anything. Okay, it's not that hard, I'm just a little nervous. I play guitar. My 4th grader plays guitar, takes lessons at Creative Music. She started doing the ukulele after school. She is dying to play violin. I might take you up on that violin offer. And we started out the year, my 5th grader, trying to play flute. Couldn't get the flute to work for a while. About end of November, December, switched to cello, switched to strings, and fell in love with it. To see the growth, not just from the beginning of the year, but from pretty much December to now, and they just had their recital a couple of weeks ago. It was amazing. I don't know if anybody here was there, but I mean, this is a girl who's been playing cello for literally 6 months, 7 months, maybe. And very encouraged to see that, and glad that she's going to be part of that when she goes to Jockey Hollow next year. But I'm a little bummed, and I'm very hopeful and glad to hear that this could come back if Hartford gets their act together. And I would be the first to also say that I would be willing to look at a pay-to-play solution as well. I thought those were some really good ideas to be thinking outside of that, although I will say Mrs. Holman has been really good, really impressive. So I don't know. Hopefully we can have that come back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Carrie Celestri, Settlers Farm Road. I'm a music teacher at the Diocese of Bridgeport, and I've been teaching piano lessons for 29 years. I have a 7th grader at Jockey Hollow who started band in 5th grade, and I have a 3rd grader who wants to become a music teacher. At Monroe Elementary, as you know, they hired a fabulous music teacher this year, somebody I've been waiting for a very long time, and Mrs. O'Grady. She has created an amazing program that she's just barely at the tip of the iceberg in creating something special for our kids. And it concerns me to miss 5th grade band and strings and to start it in 6th grade because there's just going to be a trickle effect. I feel that starting in 5th grade is crucial because there's so many other things that kids can do in 6th grade. There's also the element of going into middle school with that group of friends that you've created, and it's such a tight bond of kids that are in music really all the way through high school. So it concerns me that it's not only going to affect 5th grade, but all the way up. There are so many benefits of a good quality music education, from test scores and confidence, and even just it being that thing for the kids that maybe don't fit in other areas such as sports. It gives them such confidence, and it really boosts so many other areas. It's not just fun making music. So I just hope you consider that. We have a lot at stake here. But I appreciate your position that you're in. So thank you for listening.
Thank you. I just wanted to respond to a couple of people who asked about pay for play. Just to let you, I just want to give you some background. When we had our music program gone in 5th grade for a number of years and we brought it back, and Jen Aguilar is correct, we brought it back when our daughters were entering 5th grade. It was pay music program. That did not work because the only way to do it was before school, and the person who did it, the kids needed to be there. So if at elementary school, sometimes at 7:15 to start that, and we did not get any kids who were willing to commit once and twice a week to coming that early to school for band practice, and it was a stipend. Then what happened after that is we were able to bring it back full-time. So we did look at those possibilities, but given our past history with that, it was not, what's the word I'm looking for? Successful of a program doing it that way. And then I think it was the year later or 2 years later, we were able to bring it back into our budget and cover it, which became very successful. So our program has been very successful since we brought it, since we brought it back as incorporated in the school day, but we certainly have looked at those options. So I just want to assure you that we don't operate like that, and we have looked at stipends. We have looked at every opportunity to continue 5th grade music. Like I said, if Hartford tells us what they're doing, we still have the whole summer. Music doesn't start until school starts. So we do have a few months to decide what to do. Also, no teachers are being let go. Just so that you know, we're not refilling our retirement. And that's how we're doing that. We have a music teacher who retired, so we're not refilling the position. So none of our current music staff is being let go and cut in doing that. So we will move on then.
Can I just ask a question?
We don't do question and answer, I'm sorry. We will move on to our report of our superintendent.
I think I've said enough tonight.
All right. Thank you. We will move on to old business. First up is our budget update and our cuts.
So at your place, you have the budget cuts. This product stemmed from the work that's been done since the referendum. Again, looking for any bit of savings that we could make. We were able to put clubs and activities back in and freshman sports back in. Everything in blue at the top of the page are those things that are still earmarked to be cut. And just so people know, we're talking about the K-5 coordinators, we're talking about equipment replacements, $100,000 from technology, all our summer PD work, curriculum writing, $30,000. We're cutting a central office administrator for $154,000. The music position, as Donna just spoke, the high school teacher at $62,000. The 3 tech paras, one at each of the elementary schools at $50,000. Repairs, our training and teachers college readers and writers workshop at the elementary level, and 1 bus. So, the thing that we've always said when we start the budget process is cuts will always be made as far away from kids as we possibly can. We've done that here. We haven't increased class sizes in the district. We've tried to keep it as painless as possible. We certainly hear the concerns regarding 5th grade music. You really are singing to the choir here on the Board of Education when you speak about the value of music and music programming in a school. We too know that 5th grade is the place to catch kids. They stay if they come in at 5th grade. We saw the devastating effect of the cuts back when it was cut years ago, and now that we have, high school programming that is far reduced in number because of that, and those numbers would now start to grow back. We'll do the best we can with that. So to the Board of Education, this is what we're recommending going forward, unless you have any other comments or concerns about it. The area in the white is the catastrophic version of if the governor takes more than $4 million from us, from the town of Monroe, then we would have to go into that. That would be an assistant principal position for $120,000, instructional supplies for $55,000. 6 to 8 sports would have to be fully funded by itself with pay for play. A nurse for $55,000 here at the high school. 4 reading teachers for $250,000, a data specialist, and a custodian in order to offset those additional cuts should the state renege on their promise. So that's where we are with the prioritized cuts, and I think that any money that comes in, my recommendation would be to reinstate whatever we can in terms of the 5th grade program. Music program.
George?
What costs make up that 5th grade music program? Which of the line items?
It would be $57,842 and $16,450.
And that's all in fully funded. What
Yes.
about if we looked at pay for play? Could we get an estimate on what that would cost to the parents?
It would depend on, it'll depend on making an assumption based on how many,
Right.
Estimating how many kids would be in the program.
We could conduct a survey, I think, right, John, before the end of the year, you think?
Yeah.
5th grade parents to see?
I think it would be good to feel it out and get it out there and see what kind of interest we would be able to attract for something like that.
Okay.
And just so we're all on the same page, the Monroe Elementary School strings program starts at 7:15 on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I believe.
Okay.
So we do have kids that are able to commit to it and get in at that earlier time of the day.
Great. Well, we will look into it. Like, how many do we have, current 4th graders? District-wide, roughly?
Roughly,
170-ish?
how many? Something like that. 190, 170, something like that. We'll get the numbers.
Okay.
And we'll send out a survey too.
Okay. So that would be about 76,000 divided by,
I think we did a rough estimate, John, didn't we? We were talking about a $250 pay for play on fifth grade.
Based on
music, based on the stipends and the number of kids. I
But
think,
stipends or including a music teacher?
well, wouldn't be the full, I don't think we could, we can't, I think it's against the law. I'd have to double check. I'm pretty confident that it's against the law for us to do pay for play to hire a certified position. You can't do that,
It
okay?
would just be for the before and after.
Yeah, it would be, more
A
of
very
the
limited
thing, yeah.
watered down version of what we have. It would
Right.
not be the program
It would
that
not be the
exists.
full program, no.
The stipends are the before school band and orchestra, and that could happen, but there'd be none of that lessons during the day, which really made the band.
What we call the sectionals.
Gotcha. Alan?
Jim, I'm just looking at some of the cuts you referred to as like worst case scenario. What does the data specialist do?
We have two data specialists. Jack could speak probably more detailed about this, but, operating all of our software programs like Power School and managing, inputting data all day, reporting, State Department reports are generated from these people. Years ago, when I started in this business, you didn't have such positions because you didn't have the technology. Nowadays, you can't live without them, really. It's difficult.
Right, also a lot of work with keeping Power School up and running for all the grades in the district.
Thank you.
I just think we have to make the fifth grade music a priority if any money does come back from the state.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
We agree with that. I mean, I don't think there's anybody on the board that doesn't agree that that is a priority. The problem is that we can't say that at this point is the problem without knowing what Hartford's doing, because if it is over the 4 million that are, if the state legislature decides that of the 9 points, what we did was, the assumption of the budget was that we were going to be cut $4 million. That's what the assumption was. If we're cut $5 million from the state, or 4 million and above, so let's say they cut the whole 9.7, well, we're in catastrophic, and it's not even just this stuff on here, it's way past that. So if we are cut over $4 million, we will be losing the areas in the white. So we're,
I mean, the next step, and to Donna's point, the next step is $250,000 worth of reading teachers at the elementary level. I could think of nothing more devastating. Elementary, K-5 elementary is all about early literacy, okay? And we're talking about cutting a fundamental part of programming. It is catastrophic.
yeah. And quite honestly, there are no good cuts even in this list. We're losing our 3 coordinators. I don't think that, and I think that everybody would agree, we would have never been able to successfully implement Math in Focus if we did not have our math coordinator spearhead that. She did an outstanding job. We would not have successfully been able to meet our Common Core requirements without her implementing that math program.
And that holds true for the science coordinator with the new
Yes, the new
science standards, and and LA language arts with readers and writers workshop. We would not be where we are with those coordinators, and I've said time and time again, we won't miss them probably in 1 year. You'll miss them in 2 years. You'll start seeing problems in 2 years. Articulation between the schools and coordination of the curriculum will be more difficult. 3 or 4 years out, you start getting fragmentation of programming.
Jerry?
Have we prioritized the list? Like, if we get money back from from the state, I realize fifth grade, but have we prioritized it?
It would, if it's cut $4 million, or if it's cut like $3 million or less, we're gonna get back the contingency of $650.
Right.
So that would be up to us to decide as the
Okay.
board, what that priority list is in making up that 650. Clearly, I would, fifth grade music is obviously priority. The coordinators would be priority, I would say. Jim, I would say the tech paras would be a priority, and then we would, need to go through the rest of the stuff and decide. The 2 nurses, we knew we were going to cut. That's a cut that's already done because of St. Jude's, and also because that was a one-on-one nurse, so that we would never need to replace. But the rest of the cuts, then at that point, the bus is the bus. We would need to then go back and say, what is the most important? Is it, technology, the curriculum writing, teachers college, where do we want to start bringing back?
Thank you.
But I don't think we can make that until we know.
Agreed.
And, even the bus is a potential problem because, like I said before, busing is not a function of how many kids there are in a district. It's a function of how much geography you have to cover. So if we cut a bus, some buses are going to have to cover more territory, which means we may have to consolidate some stops. And I could tell you, nothing is worse than me picking up the phone and responding to a parent why their house stop was taken away. So, we're going to have people who are aggrieved by that cut too, when the time comes.
I think bottom line is nothing is easy and none of these cuts are ideal, and they're all painful, and we don't want to make them, but we wish there was other places to cut in the budget, and there's unfortunately just not. I mean, this thing has gone through with a fine-tooth comb. Every administrator has been in.
Agreed.
John and Jim and Jack and all the principals have just worked tirelessly since January, when we found out about the governor's proposal, and the Board of Finance has told us that we needed to get down to a 0. This has been massaged, looked at since January, this list. It's just not good. And hopefully we will know by the end of the summer.
Yep.
All right. I think we'll need to do a motion to approve this cut so that Gabby can roll our budget forward.
Yep.
So do I have a motion to make the cuts to everything in the blue area only?
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Thank you. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor?
None of us are in favor.
I don't think anybody's in favor, but it's unfortunately something that has to be done at this point. We will move on to item B, which is policies, and we have a second review on that. George, do you want to talk about the 3 of them?
Okay, so the first one, procedures for bus drivers, that policy was just changed to reflect the actual procedures that we follow. It's CAPE language. Same with communicable and infectious diseases. There's a change in the education law. We took the CAPE policy on that. And then the last one, alt ed, again, a law change, so we took CAPE policy language for that.
Great, thank you. All right, do I have a motion to approve policy number 3541.35, which is business non-instructional operation procedures for bus drivers? Policy 5141.22, which is students' communicable infectious diseases, and policy 6172, instruction, alternative education program as presented. Thank you, Jerry. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Do I have discussion on these 3 that was presented last board meeting that we reviewed? All right, all in favor? Great, thank you so much, motion passes. We will move on to new business, and first up is we're going to be polling the board about our 2017-18 professional development workshops that we hold once a month.
So we sat down and looked at topics that we thought the board would be interested in learning more about. next year, and we just generated some ideas, some bullets under each of the topics, and had given you an opportunity now if you have any other things you want us to add. We usually do the second board meeting of the month. We usually do some presentation to go over one of these areas, and we didn't know if you wanted to keep that pattern for next year. Are these topics good enough? Or do you want other topics? Do you want to add things under each of the topics? It's really an opportunity for you guys to tell us what you want us to do. We'll bring experts in the area in, or someone from our district in the area that knows what's going on, and we'll be able to share the information with everyone. You know, we know that next year the next generation science standards are going to be big, and we're going to try to work with our current K-5 science coordinator, because she has a lot of information about that. So we're working on seeing how she can help us in you know, with Sheila and the curriculum. We can bring that stuff in. But we also can talk about Common Core. We also do the presentation with student data in October, so we share all the data with you. So I don't know if there's anything else in curriculum.
So John, you're asking if the board would like to circle one of the suggestions we're providing or add in something else in the space provided, then John will collate that together and we'll start planning next year's PD.
So if you just take a minute and just circle what you want us to share with you next year. There's a lot more than we have time to share.
Right.
And if you know you can't do it now, you can always send it to us and I'll compile it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
John?
Yes.
John, I just want to say, as the newest member of the board, I've enjoyed it. As a non-educator, it's helped me understand a lot of what you do, procedures, policies, the mandates and the laws that tie your hands has really opened up my eyes. So I look forward to it and I enjoy it. So if you can keep that in mind as far as those of us on the board that are not in the field,
absolutely,
educating us so that we can help support you better. It's helped me, so thank you.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Now, if everybody circles and fills that out or adds things, that's great, so that we can get this all set up. All right. We will move on to item B, which is approval of the 2017-18 rates, fees schedule, tuition fees, facility use fees. Do I have a motion to approve that fee schedule? And we'll have discussion when we, after that. Thank you, Jerry. Do I have a second? Thank you, David. All right, does anybody have any questions? I know Gabby is not here tonight, but I'm sure Jim and John can speak to the fees that are listed.
Every place where a fee has been increased, that you can see the increase or the decrease. I don't think there were any decreases in parentheses after it. So there were a couple of fee increases for some lunch items, non-resident library late fees. This is a carryover from many years ago. We had a discussion about this morning. We don't charge kids late fees for library books, so we really need to delete that in future years. We do keep the cost of the replacement if books are lost, however. Okay. The non-resident bus transportation fee was increased $84. Elementary school, the tuition rates were increased across the board on the second page, or on page 18 of your packet. And then the preschool tuitions were increased 3.3% for each category there. And I think the rest is pretty self-explanatory. We do have really under the turf field, we didn't really ever rent out the stadium field before to speak of. It wasn't something that people would aspire to play on or wish to play on. Now we see that people from the outside may choose to do that. So that could be a revenue generator in future.
So if
years.
we host a championship with two other schools that aren't ours, they will pay to rent the field?
Jerry,
like when Massick football went to Stratford because our field was shot, did we have to purchase it from Stratford to Am I making
It's
sense?
Yeah, but Joe, you might be able to answer that better. I think with league games, there's an understanding that there's no fees exchanged.
Makes sense.
For
Okay.
league championship
We
games.
look at more of renting it out to like an outside agency that wants to come in and run clinics in the summer.
Gotcha.
Things like that.
Makes sense,
Exactly.
okay. Thank you.
You know, you might have a team that wants to rent it because their practice field is, say, grass, and they're gonna be playing state championships on turf.
Good point.
Those kinds of things. So it could be a, you know, a generator of some revenue in the future. You know, the topic came up at one point a while back, and I'll just plant the seed with you, about the replacement of the carpet 10 or 12 years down the road. You know, I wonder if there's a way to earmark any usage fees in a way and put them aside, maybe as
That's a great idea.
as a capital improvement thing there. That's something that we'd have to look at.
Yep, so that the fees that we charge will pay.
Maybe offset that future
cost.
cost.
Yeah.
So, other than that, I think everything is in line.
Great. Does anybody have questions on that?
What we motioned was page 17, 18, and 19 in our package, right?
That's correct.
Okay. And Jim, under the tuition on 18,
Mhm.
elementary school tuition, all those kindergarten tuition, that's tuition paid by whom? I'm just,
You're talking about the top of the page.
yeah, top of the page.
Yeah, if we sometimes have situations where a child will be tuitioned in, okay, from outside.
Okay,
Okay.
a non-resident,
Right.
okay.
Okay, it's pretty rare. We don't have it often, but we can have it by board policy, and so we have to set the rate.
Okay, thank you. I thought my taxes were going up.
Yeah.
It's the rate set by the state, based on last year's numbers.
Based on the budget per pupil expenditure.
When was the last time we raised the rate for the subs? Was that last year?
Last year, yes.
Thank you.
Yep. We're up 85 to 85.
Anybody else have questions on it? Hearing none, all in favor of the fee schedules? Great, thank you, motion passes. All right, excuse me while I go up.
Same here, sorry.
We will move on to item C, which is the approval of our healthy food certification for grades K to 8. Do I have a motion to approve that? Thank you, Jerry. Second? Thank you, Alan. Who would like to discuss this?
So the healthy food certificate is just K to 8. As you know, last year you voted to have the high school not on a healthy
In
food.
my absence, by the way.
I would have loved to have been on the phone when you called.
And I
No,
think we got a food truck out of it too, but anyway.
Twice.
Twice. So this is the healthy food guidelines. These are the guidelines that are set by the state. If you go on our policy, you can click on this, click on the link, and it'll take you to the state policy on what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. We get 6 cents per meal for K-8 from the state, based on if we follow the healthy food certificate and we do K to 8. So this is just approving K to 8 healthy food certification.
Thank you, John. Any further discussion?
How's it going at Massac, not on the plan?
It's going well. They're going to give us, by the end of the year, they'll give us an accounting of how it's worked, but it hasn't, we made up the money from the state 6 cents per meal.
Great. If we can get that,
we'll
let's
have-
do it in September, our first meeting since, the summer, but since we've taken Massac off, let's see how much our meals have increased, how much the revenue has increased in there, and it'd be interesting to see what's transpired after a year of taking them off and stuff.
And we'll get the specific numbers, so
Jim-
we think it's better.
Oh, sorry, Jim should brace himself for my next question. Will it ever make sense to do it in K to 8?
I don't
We
think
don't
so.
think so.
I don't think so. In order, there's a limit to what parents are gonna spend for a lunch at the elementary and middle school level. And I think that it would be very complicated at that level.
Well, would it have to change the price to come off of that?
Well, it
Shouldn't have to
does.
change
I mean, that's what it did up at Massac. I mean,
It would
it
have to
did,
change the price
you
of
could
it,
still
yeah.
have the basic lunch, but you have all of the other additional things. I mean, you could have the high schoolers speak to that, right? I mean, you could go through the line and get the basic lunch, standard lunch, for the standard price, but most high schoolers, are you guys opting for that option? No. No. Okay, they're going to the stations and they're getting, the sushi bar, right? I mean, things of that nature, so.
And high school kids tend to make better, we hope they're making better decisions too, and not, buying 7 cookies. But K-8 would be a little bit more complicated, we think, for kids making decisions like that. Maybe, I don't know.
And do you like the food trucks when they come?
Yeah.
See, John? You're justified.
Yeah, okay. You could supervise.
Anybody have anything else on this, the healthy food certification? All right, all in favor of approving K-8 on that program? Thank you, motion passes. We will move on to approval of our bus contract with All-Star Transportation. Jim, you want to discuss our negotiations and stuff?
As you know, we had All-Star for the past 5 years. In their first contract, they had a 5-year extension renewal that we could capitalize on without going out to bid, which we did. We believe that through our negotiations, we negotiated a very good contract for us. There are currently bus companies, districts nearby to us that are spending $400 per day per bus. We don't get close to that. We get to that mark after 5 years. And so it's a solid contract financially for us. We did have our board's attorney from Pullman and Comley review the contract. We found, some minor edits to do. Mr. Dufour over at All-Star was, quick to make the adjustments in the contract. And so what you have in front of you, I believe, is good for us, good for All-Star, and good for our kids.
And can you just tell everybody what the price is on the board, what the price is per bus next year? Is it $350?
Let me see. I should have
Yep,
asked.
$350.47.
If you look on page 11 of that, you can see in 17-18 for a type 1, you're talking about $350.47. And then in 21 to 22 school year, you just break over the $400 mark at $401.78 per day per bus. And so, like I say, there's many districts right now that are already at the $400 mark.
What do we have in terms of the fleet, the age of the fleet?
That's all stipulated in here. There'd be no buses older than 5 years, if I'm not mistaken.
And they're about to be 5 years.
They've actually been swapped out.
Oh, have they?
Yeah, they've
Okay.
already been swapped out.
Great. Great, so then our fleet is very young, which means no breakdowns and stuff. I know.
I haven't had hardly any breakdowns with the new company, right? Had
I
a
mean,
lot of good luck. And
they have their,
customer satisfaction.
in Seymour, they have their own bus repair facility, okay, where they service and have mechanics working on their equipment. But because the buses are so new, what All-Star does with us, or at least they have been doing with us, is when buses become of age, okay, they sell them to other districts, okay? So, and we replace them with new buses here. So maintenance is really never an issue here.
To have a company where the bus isn't breaking down with a whole bunch of your kids on it is a lot of peace of mind.
Right. And we've had some accidents this year, but that's.
I know a car that
Yeah.
you can't.
We've had like 3 in the past couple of months.
Yeah. I think it's safe to say, since we moved to All-Star Transportation, I mean, we used to, on the board, Alan and I and George and stuff have been on the board for a long time. We would dread the beginning of school because with the previous company, we knew that for weeks, right?
Yeah.
We would have terrible issues and screaming calls, and
I
it
think
was.
Terry could tell you, I think my first 6 months here,
You better take the
but that's all I did was listen to bus complaints, right? I mean, it was awful. You'd see them going down the street with, a black cloud behind them, and filthy buses, breaking down, no heat. I mean, it was
total anarchy.
It was total anarchy, and I mean, we dreaded the first couple of weeks because we're like, oh, what is going to happen? It's going to be ugly. We're just going to have bus issues, and we did, and it was ugly. School would start 45 minutes late because like half the buses would only be pulling in then. And since we've gotten All-Star, I think it's safe to say, yes, we do have the minor issues with 5-10 minutes maybe the first day because of kindergartners and stuff. But other than that, this company is professional. We don't have any problems. We have no issues, and it has been a godsend not have that.
And they
really.
They hold high standards for their people too. I mean, they don't put up with things that many other companies would put up with.
Mm-hmm. And for the price we're paying,
yeah, it's great.
We're getting a deal.
Are new buses coming out with seatbelts?
Seatbelts, that's an interesting issue.
I know.
In school buses. The cost, we actually asked this question. I can't remember what the cost is.
It was ridiculously
but it was
high.
So high to
retrofit.
retrofit your buses
Yeah,
with
ridiculous.
seatbelts.
All new ones
Yeah.
are the new ones?
Yeah, but all of the other issue that nobody's thinking about is that if you take kindergartners and first graders on a bus, you're gonna have to have another adult on the bus because they need to be strapped in.
Yeah, they'll never
You can't,
snap them.
you can't rely on a kindergarten, first grade, maybe even a second grader to strap themselves into a seatbelt. So you're gonna have to hire an adult to ride the bus and snap kids
Or
in
to
and snap
unsnap
kids out.
themselves in an
Right.
emergency.
Exactly. It's, in the industry, it's not favored to have seatbelts.
Catch
For that
22.
reason, yeah.
Great. Anybody else has any other questions? All right, hearing none. Do I have we did the motion already, right? Yeah. Do I have, all in favor of approving the motion, to approve the bus contract with All-Star Transportation? Great, thank you very much. The motion passes. We will move on to item E, insurance broker. Jim, would you like to start this conversation?
Actually, yes. A couple of months ago, we were contacted by another broker, other than One Digital, to take a look at if they could find any savings. We initially had a in-house meeting with that broker, with the new broker, who gave us a proposal. It was intriguing enough to then set up another meeting with Donna present, and to kind of review what their savings were. John, do you want to detail a little bit what the savings look like?
Sure, I mean, they looked at our fee structure, and although it's not a savings over time, there might be some initial savings in the beginning because they're going to modify how we do the fee structure. So it's not a long-term savings, but there's some savings the first year. I think what we liked about them is they have a division that's just for school districts and municipalities. So they're keeping up with all that information, what's the best way to do things for just municipalities and school districts. We asked a lot of questions about customer service because that's really important to be able to have someone to call if there's insurance issues. And they assured us that that they had good customer service. And in fact, I called a couple of districts that used them, got very positive feedback about them already. So that was good to hear.
They're talking about a roughly a $200,000 savings out of the gate, and then, but that's a one-shot deal, okay? Then when they dig into our stuff, they're building these networks of, I guess, consortium of districts where they might be able to leverage better things like the cost of stop-loss insurance and things like that down the road. I was very impressed with the professionalism, the quality, and the promise, and I think Donna,
Absolutely.
you were too, John and our team. So our recommendation from the district is to make the change to Brown and Brown.
Mm-hmm. And one of the key things they said that they the price that we currently pay One Digital, they would honor that, that
Right, going forward.
going forward for 5 years. Really, to us, it's really no downside. Do you want to explain how the insurance broker works? Because we're not changing our insurance, which is Cigna. We're just changing the broker, who is basically the go-between person between us and the insurance company, being Cigna.
And they help with negotiations, so they
Correct.
give us information for negotiations. And when it's time to look at carriers, they help us put a bid out, look at different carriers that will bid on our product, and they go out and actually look for them and talk to them.
Right, and they're our go-between, so if we have a problem, we're not calling Cigna directly, we're calling the broker who's going to deal with the situation. I believe we have talked in previous months and meetings how we have had some issues with our current broker, that we have not really been happy with the service that we have been receiving from them, and the timeliness of questions being answered and getting back to us and being responsive to us. So this is what kind of sparked a discussion of wanting to bring in somebody different and seeing different ideas of, that person should also be, our broker should also be looking at innovative ways to save us money and to get better deals, and they're really the one we're really with right now is not doing that.
Right, not as aggressively as they should be.
Correct, and we were, like Jim said, very impressed with Brown and Brown and some of the ideas that they have about going forward and saving the district money, because our insurance clearly right now is in a very bad spot with our, we've had a very rough year, and they really think that they can get us better deals moving forward that is going to help us, save money. And there's, like I said, there's no downside because we can switch with them. We're not switching Cigna, and if we're really not happy with them, it's easy to change back. All we have to do is send them a letter saying, we're giving you 30 days to terminate, and we move to a different company. So there's really no downside to us if we're not really happy with their promises that they made. But as John's checked out some of the other districts,
They're very happy with it.
yeah, they're very happy with them. And this is really this division of Brown and Brown, that's all they do, is just service boards of education and municipalities in Connecticut.
No contractual issues?
No.
To change things?
No contractual issues.
Timing is perfect.
Timing is perfect, so because our fiscal year starts July 1, we will start with them July 1. Any questions?
I have, no, not really a question. I appreciate your due diligence in shopping around and finding that savings for the district. It's really important who you work with these types of things, so thank you for doing that.
Hear, hear.
Mm-hmm. Yep, always looking, we can find different ways. All right, anybody else have anything else? Great, hearing none.
I have one thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'd just like to thank Central Office, John and the staff. What a great night
Yes.
on June 1st. There was a few of us there. It
Can
was
we
a
do
great-
the vote first and you?
Oh, sure, I'm sorry. Go ahead, vote.
All in favor of changing
No,
our
keep my hand
insurance
down.
broker to Brown and Brown?
Now I'll
Motion
say it
passes.
again.
Jerry, you have the floor and can say anything.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I am so sorry for speaking out of turn. What a great night it was on Thursday night, June 1st, to just have everyone there. Jim did a fantastic, John, once again, awesome job. Not sure who helped you guys through it, but it's a lot of work, a lot of coordination. John does it all. John, how many were there that night?
183.
183 people. It's a nice job, guys. Thank you, Madam Chair. So sorry.
It
Alan?
was,
Go ahead.
go ahead. No, just, I went and it was a great ceremony. It was so nice to see everybody there from Jim all the way down. Great job, John, and everybody that helped you, and I enjoyed it, so thank you.
Alan?
We, we forgot to make a motion on the insurance broker.
Oh, we didn't? Sorry, I thought we did.
And I wasn't out of turn.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you so much. Do I have a motion for us to approve the change of the insurance broker? Thank you to Brown and Brown.
Very strong motion.
Thank you, Alan. Do I have a second?
I'm gonna have to second that.
Okay. Now, do we have all in favor? Thank you for catching that, Alan, so that we don't have a problem going forward. Does anybody have anything else before we adjourn? Okay, hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn? Nobody wants the motion? Thank you.
Yeah, I know.
Jerry and David, any discussion? All in favor? Thank you very much, everybody. We appreciate this evening's meeting.